Let's light this thing up.
Okay, social media posts have gone out. Let's see if the tubes bloop.
Got that smooth jazz coming at you at 1394 WGAU, Royston, Athens, and Conyers. It's Vince
And we're live.
sitting back, relaxing, with some sweet pre-show knowledge. We're gonna put it all in that beautiful little brain. Now this is like NPR, man. That'll put you to bed. Don't drive and listen to that.
Yeah, yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah, I was about to say, you sound just like the dude who used to make the Pacific Ocean segment, which was like the smooth songs to put you to sleep in Portuguese radio.
It's got a rock man working for NPR, because you know they give you free opioids or something. That's the only way you can maintain that. Hey beautiful people, what's going on? We're getting ready for Linux, weekly, daily, Wednesdays. We're going to sit back, relax, and kind of talk about some of the neat things going on in the world of Linux. This is our little pre-show where we're just getting the last bobs and bits together.
Yes. Anyone want to take pics at the rundown? Be my guest.
What do you mean? It should go in order of you, Jill, me.
Okay. Bloop. Bloop. And bloop. There we go.
Hello, chat room.
Me, Jill, you. Okay.
Oh, yay,
Just
Matthew,
around.
you're in. You're in.
Oh
Yay.
man, he's watching. I feel dirty.
Yay! Yay, and there's my brother. Hi, Jellybean. Hi, S. Michelle. Where's my hubby? Is he around yet?
Doing something productive, Jill.
Doing something productive. Literally making toys.
Yes.
He's playing with toys, alright?
I mean, he has, do some pre-testing. Testing in production, as it were.
Yes, hubby isn't in right now, but he had a couple big meetings showing some preliminary inventions.
Post-liminary inventions reportedly devastating. According to Stallman, anything you put after that said it's pizza hipster is just buzzing noises.
Yeah. Pizza dude. Rohit.
Oh, it's spyware. It's using WebRTC. It's basically Electron, and it's not open source. So yeah, spyware.
There's Steve's husband. Yay!
Discord shouldn't spy on its users. The government hates competition. That's why I couldn't understand like the government holding a trial for Facebook. It was like,
How much have you guys profiteered from Facebook?
Well, it's not even that, man. It's like, all right, seriously? You're gonna talk about like spying on citizens? Ooh, oh, I don't know about that. But okay, what else? I'm not here to talk politics. Mumble IRC? No, right now, far as currently available for Linux, supported on Linux, and doesn't sound like junk.
Oh, nice arguments there, Pizza Dude. Have you read the privacy policy for, I don't know, Google Plus? Because Discord is pretty tame compared to Google Plus. Heck, Discord's a freaking saint compared to Dropbox. Unless you pay Dropbox, anything you host on their cloud servers is theirs.
Well, that's like anything else, man. You're the product. I mean, you're giving them free stuff. You're like, mine. But I think it's important that the average person maybe realizes that now. But here's the thing that has shocked a lot of people. The average person might now realize it, but you got to realize the average person also don't care.
Yeah.
You can go, but privacy and all this, and they're going to take your stuff. And they're like, okay, yeah, look, I'm going to hit the thumbs up button. Go away, nerd. That's exactly... That's probably the most shocking thing, I think, for a lot of people to come out of this. Because it was like, see, told you, and your privacy has been invaded, and like, so.
Anything you use nowadays, you have a smartphone in your pocket. Is it running Android or iOS by any chance?
don't have
well,
a
guess what?
smartphone in
Other
my pocket,
Google or Apple are spying on you.
I keep my phone covered in aluminum foil. It doesn't work very well. Reception's a bit rough.
Heck, let's say you have a Chinese phone like this Huawei, what I have right now. Probably fitting the Chinese government with all my stuff. Yeah, I'm aware of that. Not happy about it, but I'm aware of that.
Oh, my favorite argument is like, I won't use Android phones. I only use iPhones because they're made in China. Are you about to say made in China? Because I got some Foxconn news for you. Don't know.
Yeah.
You know,
Michelle,
one thing-
today I have the Vulcan IDIC. Infinite diversity and infinite combinations. One of my favorite sayings from Star Trek. Because it's so true.
One of the things I'm surprised about is that this little controller that I have right here with all its Bluetooth functionality isn't, ratting me out to 8-bit do about everything I do. It probably is, but they don't have a license agreement for me to agree or disagree, so I don't know.
Well, make your own Discord like Blackjack.
Hi, Chibsy! Now, I hope everyone watched last week and saw his wonderful interview about Penguicon. It was awesome. And yeah, Chibsy, I used to actually be a part of the Society for Creative Anachronism when I was younger. And in fact, the big Ren fairs here, of course, in California, are run by the Society. And it started in where I live here in LA. So I used to go to tournaments.
Anachronism.
Yeah,
the term creative anachronism sounds really good when you contrast it to the other one, which is just, cosplay.
Yeah, cosplay. Yeah, exactly. Well, we called it. In the days, the cosplay all came about, of course, because of Star Trek conventions. So, and we just called it dressing up in uniform. That's what cosplay is. So.
People want to listen. Adults want to play dress up too. All right, is this what you're distilling it down to? There's nothing wrong with that. Just don't pretend it's. I don't think anybody necessarily pretends it's anything other than that. It's like, hey man, let's dress up. Let's have a costume party.
Yeah, exactly. But a lot of the Star Trek fans get a little annoyed by the term cosplay because.
Because of
we were
the
doing
anime
it
implications.
years ago.
Oh man, that's got to be more insufferable than vegan Star Trek hipsters.
Yeah.
Well, we were doing it before it was mainstream, and I was like, I'd like to show you some Dragon Cons from the 70s then.
Oh yeah. Yeah, once upon a time in the 70s, I was the only little girl running around in a Captain Kirk uniform. Because that's what Gene Roddenberry had originally intended the ladies to wear, was the men's uniform, as demonstrated by Where No Man Has Gone Before and The Cage.
Hey man,
so I wore
listen.
that.
Dudes wore skirts in TNG. They had a skirt.
Yes,
uniform.
they did. But Gene Roddenberry's original vision was to have the men and women wearing the same uniforms. So, and he used to always give me hugs at every convention, saying, "Thank you, Jill. You're doing what I had wanted. I'd wanted the ladies in the men's uniform being treated equally." So.
I'm gonna go make some tea, and we're gonna get underway. Look at that.
Okay.
Star Trek terminology, kind of, sort of. I don't know. Live long and wait, no, hang on. May the force be with you. There we go.
I will be right back as well for a quick break.
You hear that, Pedro? You're getting left.
Oh, poor Pedro, all alone.
I think at this point, if Microsoft decided to shaft Linux or try to shaft Linux somehow, it would just make them look really bad. it's like, oh, you're the proprietary company with millions and billions of dollars of market worth, and you're literally shitting on the open source project that you've been abusing over the years and using for whatever you feel is more profitable, and basically taking them to court over, I don't know, the NTFS file system? Really? Yeah, Azure is a mess. I've had the pleasure of looking at the web front end for Azure, and wow. It's how to make a CLI interface even more complicated with checkboxes. See, Maddie, I would make the argument that Microsoft have been on their downward spiral for a long time. It's just... I mean, from here, they can either go, okay, Windows is now a service, you subscribe to it, you can have an operating system, or you can use this free version of Windows, which is basically just Linux running on top of Azure with a fancy GUI. That will be a very interesting day if they ever decide to do that. Yeah, PowerShell is just very clearly, it's like, oh, we want to be as useful as Bash, but we don't really know how Bash works, so we tried our best, guys. We know it sucks, but we tried our best. Easy to say, Strider, unless, say, you work for the NHS, where a great deal of websites are hosted on Azure platforms. I mean, at its core, you can still SSH into it, and oh look, it's actual Linux, and you can actually set those settings off the usual way. But it's Azure. Most of everything is Azure. Wasn't really much of a choice at the time. It was like, oh, opportunity. Yes, please. But yeah, I at least know that I made a little bit of a difference. Most of the servers now, instead of using Microsoft's SQL, are now using MySQL. It's not MariaDB, but it's MySQL. It's open source. And I'm very specific about that term.
Actually, what do you mean source available? It's not really open source. And we're going to argue semantics, because even though I understand that you know what you meant, you misspoke on the internet. And, well, actually, I love it. It's great.
Steve, no rain today. It was actually sunny all day long. It was very warm, very humid. Granted, but sunny the whole day. And tomorrow is going to be even sunnier. Well, even hotter.
Okay, so now that you're in Britannia, I'm guessing that you probably have at least some idea what the Commonwealth Games are.
No.
It's the Australian Olympics.
No.
And dude from Ireland, they knocked him out in the marathon. He just he's like, you should not let people from Ireland run an Australian 8.
Mm-hmm.
That. Mm-mm.
Well, Australia also gets to participate in Eurovision, right? So quid pro quo.
There's a certain longitude Australians shouldn't be allowed above. They'll freeze, man. It's cruel.
Yay, Steve husband.
Light levels.
I actually didn't change anything. They just look better on Venzen.
Pedro's blue.
I'm blue. I had to account for all the sunlight. I can fix that. Okay, let's see.
Yay, empty! Yay, empty! Oh, S. Michelle, have you gotten Empty's Media Temple shirt yet? So we could send that to him? The company that's often at scale called Media Temple, they have these, the name is MT, so Empty, Mike Tehan, wanted their shirt, and they didn't have them, so... So we got in contact with the company to send us a shirt for him. Yay, S. Michelle! Yay, got it! So good, Empty. So we're going to be able to send all your Scale swag with your new shirt very, very soon. We have all his swag from Scale.
Man, that shipping from China took a while.
No, we were waiting on a few things, and that was one of them. And I actually picked up a few goodies for Mike, a few surprises that I'm going to put in his swag backpack.
Tian, be careful, man. It's literally packed with edibles. Like, that's insane.
Bees!
Fucking federal time, man, so you might not want to claim it. Okay, let's get on the road here.
Yes.
Boop. And let's take down that volume. Oh, it's getting a little scary. It's getting a little scary, a little frightening. Like, this hand almost knows how to work this stupid monkey mixer without me constantly, like, getting FaceTime with him. Like, wait. Alright, we got that. Everyone's down with the rundown?
Yes.
Alright. That's good. That's good. Okay. Scene. All right. Brilliant. Oh. What's your upload speed, Pedro?
On a good day, 9 megabits per second.
Okay.
Yeah, I noticed the bit rate was a little too low yesterday.
Probably would bring your volume up by 8%, and if you have 9 up, you can absolutely do 720p 60.
Yeah.
Instead of 30.
It's just, I was being conservative.
All right, just letting you know.
Yeah. Okay, 8% is right around here. Does this sound good?
Oh, no. Sorry, dude. I mean on the live stream, not...
Oh, okay. Oh, right. Yeah.
All right. It doesn't really matter what you do on your end over here anymore, because it just will auto-gate you or auto-compress you to wherever I need you to be.
Okay.
You're welcome, ladies and gentlemen. And yeah, sorry, Pedro's a little blown out, but that was a different background when we started, and I'm not resetting it.
Yes.
All right, let's talk some Linux and stuff. I think that's the plan. I really should cut on one of the spotlights. I need more light. I'm aware of that, but that is way over there, and I'm ready to go. So,
Yes.
Let's do it. Ready, Jill?
Yes.
All right. Coming at you in 3, 2.
Git counts 10 years under its belt, and Linux drives cars.
Google renamed a file, and Ubuntu enables kernel live patching.
1111. No, that's not the mark of the beast. No, it's not. It's going to be used for good, and someone has created a centralized video hosting site that probably will not be used for good. Nay, probably for other more nefarious things. But don't let that get you down, because this is another great day for Linux, everyone. So let's go.
Mm-hmm.
3, 2, 1. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 1111. 11 I've exhausted all of my energy reserve, so it's up for you. And welcome back to Linux Weekly Daily Wednesdays, where we're going to sit back, relax, and talk about some of the neat things going on in the world of Penguin Land. I'm Ben Stone, joined each and every week by the man on the island. He's over there. He's one Pedro Mateus.
Hello.
With his multifaceted lighting situation at this time in the afternoon, because, well, it goes from light to dark. And the person in the middle, you know her, that's Jill. Hollywood Jill from LA. Keeping it down, keeping us real, keeping us grounded. That's backwards, man. LA people should be all fancy and stuff.
Oh.
So, yeah, what's going on? Well, I was talking in the pre-shows and before we get started with this. I'm still a bit sideways because they gentrified my Aldi's, and I'm still a bit miffed about this. I don't know what to make of it. If you don't know what Aldi's is, look it up, and you're like, wait a minute, they fancified that. And like, yeah, they did. Jill, well, hopefully things are going slightly less confusing in Space LA.
Yes. Yeah, actually, in a couple weeks from now, the Linux Chicks LA, we're getting ready to do another meetup where we're doing a hands-on workshop, teaching people how to install, make a web server with LAMP and on their computers. And we've gotten lots of good response from it. I think we're going to have a lot of people there. So
what are the
going to be good.
Are you going to double down just with Apache, or are you going to have some Nginx in there? Or...
Yeah, I gotta talk to the other chicks about that. Michelle in chat as well, because I was thinking about Nginx as well. So
Nginx is legit. I was looking to set up our own video server, and 2 decades of messing with Apache, walking into the never touching that, looking at it, it's like, oh wait, this is human readable.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
What's up, Pedro?
Well, I'm feeling a bit moist. It's been very warm today. Yes, I had to drop that. Sorry.
And I can retort to that. So expletive delete you right here off the bat.
But yeah, no, it's been very warm today, and it's going to be even warmer tomorrow in the UK. So yeah, it's nice to get away from the single digits and to the almost 30 Celsius. So yeah, it feels nice, but I'm a bit sweaty. Go figure.
Something to get hot and bothered about, transition poorly done, is Git turning 10, man. It's a thing. It's real.
Oh yes.
10 years old. Talk about it, Jill.
Yeah, Git. Or Jill, go ahead.
Okay. Well, of course, Linus Torvald is one of the most influential people in the world who transferred technology.
He's great.
Twice with Linux.
Hey, man, I watch his videos on YouTube all the time, man. He was doing a thing about overclocking with water there.
Oh, no. Not that Linus.
Oh, okay.
No, this is the one that invented Linux and Git. And GitHub is the social network where Git repositories and version controlled are stored and shared. And it's amazing. It has transformed the world, really, for all development, all software development, and open source in general. It's just transformed our universe.
I guess they kind of had to dance around the March 2nd Unreal Engine 4 thing, because it was like, hey, Unreal Engine went open source and people jumped on us. They're like, no, that's our word. Don't use that. You know what we meant. What were you saying, Pete, baby?
Yeah. No, GitHub turned 10, and it's according to they have a little film that you can watch if you want. They say that over all this time they have more than 80 million projects. That's about the same as the contrast ratio on my monitors. The amount of pull requests crossed 100 million that were merged into the master project somewhere in 2017. 2.9 trillion lines of code submitted in 2017 alone. That's a lot of code. There was also the fact that Microsoft, we will talk about them more later on, but they at some point decided, Codeplex is a thing, but yeah, Git's more established and there's more people there, so we're just going to use that. And yeah, like Jill already mentioned, it's It's like a social network. If you want to talk about coding environments and repo hosting and version control and whatnot, GitHub is just a default nowadays. And that's awesome to see.
It's a thing to do, and one of my favorite things is some people have very legitimate reasons not to use GitHub or Git for version control, but most of them don't, and I do enjoy seeing the mental gymnastics employed sometimes to say, no.
SVN is better. It runs on Java.
SVN you might be able to link, but it's like, no, CVS. No, let it die. It's good to see, man. I'm very happy. I do want to say that looking at the list, this is not going to make sense to the audio listeners. Doesn't under that, okay, this is what really sets it off. Directly under the cup of Java, doesn't that look like an e-cig? I mean.
Or a Slim. That is a Slim cigarette. That's what it is.
Okay, man. I'm not saying. So, Vulture gives PDA some Linux lovin' to make that. It looks like, walks like, quacks like, Python is actually a penguin. What is this? Never heard of it.
Well, it's a PDA for all intents and purposes. It's a phone, a foldable phone that has a, well, I don't want to say full-size keyboard, but it has a keyboard to it, a little QWERTY keyboard that you can use to type.
Listen, you can name off an entire gang of features, but it looks like Knight Rider, dude. So
yes, it has the Knight Rider blinky LEDs when it has a notification. That's one of the things that the register complained about, is that you can't customize how those LEDs behave. It's like, let's say you want the leftmost LED to say you missed a call, or the rightmost LED to say you have a tweet notification, something like that. You can't do that. All you have is the Knight Rider effect. So it's they also complain about the keyboard. You know, the big feature, the big thing.
Listen, Brad, I don't know. I mean, I'm looking at the keyboard does not look, what do you think, Jill? I don't think it looks 100% abysmal. It looks like you might be able to type on that. It has some travel to it.
Yeah, actually, it looks just a little bit smaller than the original 701 EPC. But actually, you know, what was interesting is this was supposed to be a phone. And I don't, for me personally, I don't see being able to use it in that way, because it is exactly what you said. It's more like a PDA or a Chromebook.
You gotta look at it. When was the last time you used it? Okay, true story. I'm in on the Google Voice Wi-Fi calling thing. It's a beta feature. You can sign up for it. You can almost. So I forgot to make all my tablets, my Nexus 7s, my Nexus 10s quit ringing. When was the last time your phone rang? Because I know I made a very, very ungodly screeching noise the other day when one of my tablets rang. And I was like, what is this? And so does it need to be a phone? That's what I'm asking you, Pedro. Does it need to?
It doesn't need to be a phone. In fact, the fine folks at the Register managed to get some Linux up and running on it. And it works for what it is. Now, you know, if you really want to use it as a phone, I guess you could make like, the BlackBerry comparison always comes up, but I don't think it really applies here. It'll probably have the same appeal if you want like the keyboard to do some typing, to do some work, as it were, in a phone form factor. But if the keyboard is as bad as the Register claims that it is, yeah, people are not going to be happy about that.
It might not mean, okay, to further on this point, when was the last time you've held the phone up to your face organ as opposed to using your Bluetooth?
Yesterday.
Yeah.
You're a snowflake. Anyway.
I have an Android flip phone.
You see, you have a reason to break that out, because you're a hipster and you want everyone to know that you have a flip phone.
It's my English phone, okay? It's got an English SIM in it. That's where people over here call me.
Too many jokes I'm not making. Anyway, this thing's 499 pounds. That's going to be tapping on the high side of 500 wet stinky caches American. So, yeah. Good luck. We'll wish them all the best. But Android, Linux. Fuchsia is no longer just a color, is it, Jill?
No. And it is not Linux, but is open source and uses a mix of software licenses, including BSD3, Claus, MIT, and Apache 2.
All right. So
And
what is Fuchsia?
Yeah. it is. Google is trying to move away from Android, and they're trying to unify all the things with between Chrome OS and Android. So they're saying that this is going to be their next OS. They're developing for that purpose.
So this is what I like to call, it's not Java, the operating system. Oracle, quit suing us. Seriously, this is getting old. We'd like to spend money doing other stuff. And this is making a note. Hey, man, we got some notes on it. Pedro, what are our thoughts on this? It's been in development for what, like almost 2 years, man? Almost 2 years.
Yeah.
Almost 2 years since they made the first official announcement.
Have they done any preview releases? Like on...
I think you can get a preview, but you still have to build it. And there are a couple of devices which will run it, mostly the Nexus devices, obviously. But this bit of news came about because Google renamed a file in their GitHub repository for Fuchsia, which was just called book.md, and now they called it like the book or something along those lines, and people started paying attention to it. And it actually has a little bit of a description of everything that Fuchsia is setting out to do. And I had to read through that, and it's like, oh, so you're basically going the Apple tactic of throwing something in the ocean and seeing what floats. That's fair. Apple's done that very recently with the whole, we're dropping Intel and we're creating our own hardware. And they said that they're only going to be doing that
but Apple's
in
also been, that's the 4th time Apple's done that. I mean,
yes.
I never understood. Can you believe they're going to ARM? Absolutely, I can believe Apple's going to ARM. I mean, but
it's the whole announce it early so they can see, okay, people are sticking out in these points. Let's try to get those solved before 2020, which is like sort of the date that they put out for dropping Intel entirely. So Google over here is trying the same thing. It's like, okay, let's make people aware that this is a thing. We want this to be a thing. And let's see how people react. What are the sticking points that people will have with this? So, hey, good on them. And if it is, better than the glorified Java virtual machine that Android is nowadays, hey.
Hey, man, grounds up. Yeah. Progress is progress. I say good on that. And, hey, man, I saw some people, they were saying, Google wants more control. Google's already got all the controls. Have you used Android without GApps? You realize real quick that is no Moz. Ubuntu 18.04. It's going to make things easier. They're going to let you install kernel updates without rebooting. Is this something to get excited about?
Jill?
Yeah, definitely. You no longer have to use the terminal to run live patching, but can do it directly through the software and updates utility, which I don't ever use, but it is there, and so it's just a matter of signing on to your Ubuntu account, Ubuntu One account, and launching the utility. And this is actually really, really cool that they're innovating in this area. SUSE Linux Enterprise for the last few years has been doing lots of innovation in live kernel patching, and it's great. Now Ubuntu is doing it and making it easier to install in the 18.04 LTS release.
I don't know. I'm not against it. I'm not for it. Pedro, what's our use case for live patching? Do you want to just live dangerously and wait for something to go wrong after you've patched it without the hold your breath and see if it reboots and actually comes back up?
Yeah, I think uptime is the use case here. Say you have a server, say you have something mission critical that you want to be running all the time, but there was that kernel flaw that was discovered and people are kicking up a fuss about it, and we need to fix it like right now. But we can't drop that over time because we're getting a lot of hits on our server. So live patch, hopefully.
That would require someone using Ubuntu as a server, Pedro.
Yes. That is true. I mean, CentOS is a thing. use that.
Yeah.
Or Debian. But it's no, it's for the end user. From our perspective as end users, I appreciate the reboot personally. It's oh, there's a kernel update, let's reboot, let's get all the new things, and if it breaks, it breaks. We know the kernel is to blame because that was the significant update that came down the pipe. So we just go back to the old version. Live patching is solely for those people who are worried about the uptime.
Or you can make this, grandparent proof and just cut this on. This one less hassle you have to deal with unless it does, in fact, break something. There's a guy, this will be at OMG, Ubuntu, all this business. It's going to be in our show notes. And they point out, just use the update utility. And there is a handy guide because it's Ubuntu and there's like 6 of them that ship with Ubuntu. It's kind of confusing sometimes. NSS, TLS, that's a bunch of words, man. Do they rhyme with HTTPS or DNS?
Yes, yes, they do, because of the TLS implications right there. So, as you may know, sometimes you have that one command line utility that requires a certain domain name solving ability. Most people just run that through curl, but that is being done in a non-encrypted fashion. And it's just looking up the DNS server, and it's not encrypted. The connection to that DNS server is not encrypted. Well, this is here to try and fix that. If you have a CLI application that's run, that's being built with NSS-TLS, it will use...
It uses Ninja. I don't like it already.
Yes. It uses Ninja, and it uses the Cloudflare 11111. That's 11 too many. But it uses that to do the encrypted domain lookup, because Cloudflare's system that we talked about a couple of weeks ago, it's fully encrypted DNS services for whoever wants them. And it's what this does. It implements that DNS lookup in the command line in an encrypted fashion. Security.
Well, one of the things it kind of made mention of was, hey, man, this thing could be really slow, so you probably want to do a local index. Just to save time. And you got to be like 3 black helicopter before. I'm just saying from my own personal, not one black helicopter.
You have your own local DNS system going? Yeah.
Which is next level. I totally respect it. Far too lazy to do it. Julie, you got some things about, what do you got?
Well, this can be used to block all those inaccurate Linux user surveys we talked about last week.
Very good point.
I used I used a utility like this at one point just to play around with, and but I like that it's securing DNS, so that is really awesome. And it's as a lot of people know that are watching this podcast, the domain name system, or DNS, is the phone book for the internet, and it is very, very, very important.
Well, it's about time we've seen some level of encryption just with DNS as a whole. And better sooner or later. I saw one Mr. Tehan, he posted a thing in our Discord earlier today, before the show. Turns out it's like over 50% of the web is encrypted right now using just blinked.
Let's Encrypt.
Let's Encrypt. Thank you.
Yeah.
So the more the merrier. React OS, the thing you never hope you have to use, but if you do, you'll be glad it's there. 9.4.8 is out. The React OS project. Pleased to announce the release and continue working on release. Hey, every 3 months. If you don't know about this, you never heard of it. This is kind of like Windows-ish, like XP-ish, 2000-ish, kind of smashed together, and you also get to use words like it kind of work-ish, but not completely. But I've always called this the, air quotes, always worth a try operating system for anyone who needs to support old apps, and you kind of want to avoid dealing with Microsoft tax or having to worry about anything resembling security on an old XP machine. This latest update, it does bring a few things. The NT6 Plus software support and games. I'm not sure anyone's brave enough to try gaming on it. And it also brings a new tool, Dr. Watson 32 alike. It's been made. One of the members, Mark, he added it. And anytime an application crashes, it'll give you a nice little log on the desktop that you can send off and be like, hey, man, this thing borked. And one last bit, NTFS driver that was coded by, who was it, Trevor during the GSOC 2016-17 era has been added. So, yeah, I say good on them. There's some hardware support and some other stuff with the drivers. And again, I firmly believe this is something that you would never want to use. Nor would I recommend using in production, but you might want to try it on the site, see if it works anyway.
Yeah, it's not exactly what you'd call usable, even at this point. Admittedly, they've made leaps and bounds since the last time I even
Some programs work. This is handy when you have some weird, bizarre, proprietary thing. The one reason you have a Windows machine anywhere.
Yeah. And it's the thing that they're doing is like the NT6 Plus support. It basically means anything from Vista and 7, 8, 8.1, 10, what have yous, should in theory be supported at some point in the future once they can get it all up and running. You mentioned games earlier, Venn. They actually have some success with older games. Let's face it.
Minesweeper, right?
Yeah, also yes. They're relying on open source graphics, completely open source graphics, trying to stay as much away from the proprietary blobs that AMD has in the kernel. Let's be honest, they do. And they work. A lot of games actually do work, but they're mostly older titles, as is to be expected. And they have the system that creates a little log file that Venn mentioned. It's really, really making progress. But again, I wouldn't call it usable right now.
No one did, Pedro. No one did. Jill, do you get any thoughts, hints, allegations on this? Have you touched React OS, or is it just something you've been intelligent enough to stay away from?
Yeah. I kind of stay away from it, but years ago, I played around with it. It is really nice that there's a independent OS out there that's trying to, run Windows apps. Anytime we can stay away from Windows is always a good thing. But normally I just run Wine under Linux or a VM machine if I really need to run software that doesn't run under Wine.
That's hey man. It's a good project. I've always dug it, and it's never really worked the entirety of it, but I'm glad it's there one day.
Yeah.
One day. Pedro, they have found a way to annoy people on their GNOME desktop. They're like, man, I'm scared of KDE. I'm not going to install this KDE Connect thing. I'm safe over here on GNOME. They're like, ha, 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 no, you're not.
No, you're not. And if you do, if you've ever tried KDE Connect and you really like it, but you just can't stand the KDE desktop environment, well, that's a bit of a not palindrome, tautology. Now you can get that KDE Connect functionality on your GNOME desktop with a little GNOME extension. It's available. You can just install it the same way you would any other GNOME extensions. GS Connect is what they call them, and it gives you almost the exact same functionality. You can get the notifications from your Android device on your desktop. You can browse your Android device from your PC, which is like the big one right now for KDE Connect. You still need the KDE Connect app on your Android, but the KDE Connect app on your Android doesn't download the entire kitchen sink from KDE, and now you don't have to on your GNOME powered Linux either. So that's good.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome. It's awesome to be able to browse and send files wirelessly from your Android phone to your GNOME Linux desktop, and you can use the Nautilus file browser or Google Chrome and Firefox. And I thought that was actually pretty cool. So that to me, I actually might use this.
And the clipboard sync works, which is good.
Yes.
Unlike these two heathens, these psychopaths, I come to a desktop to escape push notifications.
Yes.
So, no, I'm not going to ever even entertain the possibility of having notifications here as well.
There is one bit of functionality from KDE Connect that I will never get used to, but I love, which is if you're watching something on a supported video player, usually a native video player like VLC and whatnot, and all of a sudden it freezes, and you go, oh crap, what happened? And then your phone starts ringing. Oh, that was KDE Connect pausing my video so I could answer the phone call. And the moment you tap the button to kill the phone call, the video resumes. Well, I'll be damned. We're living in the future.
That would be a very impressive feature in like 2005. Coming up next, video is better when the codec and transport work together. Salsify is a new design for real-time internet video that jointly controls a video codec and a network transport protocol. I mean, this is WebRTC, VP8, all the good stuff strapped together, coming from Stanford University. They've basically just thrown out a research paper. They give you the data, and they're going to show you how this thing deals with limited bandwidth and holds up comparatively with your standard VP8 WebRTC implementations. And it does a very good WebRTC. Chrome 65's comparison we are seeing in their video, and it is maintaining fluid movement where, well, is it Salsify? I'm calling it
Salsify.
I'm calling it Salsify, man. This thing needs chips, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
This is neat. Now, the one thing I did notice, there's no audio codec attached to this. This has been thrown out as a babe into the wild, and you guys get on it, everyone adopt it, and do the thing. It's not so much the video codec technology itself, it's how the network, it's the bits tying the clients together and how it deals with adaptive bandwidth. Just conditions is a very simple way to put this, and getting all the packets from point A to point Q. Pretty neat. Do you think, is this battery technology, is this something we'll see in 10 years?
I definitely think it will be, because it's as you said earlier, it improves the speed and quality of streaming video, which results in fewer drop frames and less packet loss. And the fact that it's combining the two technologies together, it's almost like it's a bare metal approach to using software, bringing several different types of software together to make it just more efficient and more bare bones. And as far as the audio goes, VP8 can be multiplexed into the Matroska-based container format WebM, which and Vorbis, which uses Opus audio. And yeah, there is no mention of audio in Salsify, even in the paper they wrote, which I was a little surprised about.
In the FAQ, they actually say it does not support audio right now. This is all about the video. Yeah. And if you don't want to read the whole paper and you don't want to read the whole thing, they made a little graph which has like the vertical axis is about video quality and the horizontal axis is about video delay on the 95th percentile in milliseconds. So you can see like the worst 5% frames and how delayed they were. In Salsify, they were like somewhere between 500 and 300 milliseconds. Skype, on the other hand, which was like the second best, has really poor video quality, and it's over 500 milliseconds. Then you have FaceTime, then Hangouts, then WebRTC with VP9, and then at the very, very end of the scale, with over 5 seconds of video delay, you have WebRTC. That's
well,
that's significant.
I mean, you could see like Soldats and Netflix is going to. A lot of people are going to jump on this to see how they can Borg it. I mean, that's what they're going to be looking at right now. It's like, can we implement this in some way, shape, form, or fashion? It's completely free to do so. It's not like they have to be bad. So I don't think we'll never see unless somebody is going to be tying this stuff together, a small open source project. We're not going to see not Skype.com and whatever, and this is just going to work. And because we very much have a situation, it's like you can have one of the 2 out of the 3 choices. It's like, do you want low latency and good video? Okay, well, your audio is going to be crap. Do you want good audio and good video? Yeah, latency is going to be horrible. and we've run the gamut.
Low latency audio, poor video. It's the thing here is this is being developed by researchers at Stanford University, like I already mentioned. It's no surprise, or it will be no surprise, that we see the usual suspects like Microsoft, Apple, Netflix, Google, trying to implement this at some point. But it's good to know that the technology that's running the back end doesn't have their particular brand of proprietariness attached to it. So that's good.
It's good to see.
Exactly.
Microsoft, they completely released this Silk codec. Jill, quit attacking that microphone. Okay? Seriously. All right. Coming up next, take back control of your videos, a decentralized video hosting network based on Free and Libre software. We're talking about PeerTube, not RedTube, not BlueTube, not GreenTube, not YouTube. This is the mastodon of video, is probably the best way I could put it. I don't know. Pedro, you had some thoughts on it.
Yeah, it's this is never a bad idea, you know? When you go into, decentralized something means that there are several instances. You can have tons of hosting for a fraction of the cost that you would get otherwise. It's a really good idea. But the thing about YouTube and people wanting to get out of YouTube right now is the monetization issues and specifically the demonetization issues that
Again,
have
I
been
think
happening.
in all fairness to point out, the average person don't care about anything Pedro just said. They watch their cat videos, they're done.
Yes, but those are the watchers. We're talking about the people who upload the videos, who would like an alternative to YouTube, as it were. And let's say this catches on.
I don't think this platform is meant for those people.
Could very well be.
Yeah.
But let's say that this manages to reach that mainstream
Talk
attention.
about this place that only exists in Pedro's head. I love this.
It's called speculation. Join me on this, will you?
Go, girlfriend.
So let's say this achieves any type of mainstream appeal. People actually start using this. You start to get the exact same content that you do on YouTube, and someone's gonna go, "Wait, I'm not making any money out of this. There's no ads. There's no nothing. So let's try to implement a way to monetize this." That, in my opinion, is the way that this will become, the true alternative to not Facebook, but YouTube. Facebook, you can make the argument. But it's, that is when the bad ideas start to come. And how are you going to curb those bad ideas when you have an entirely decentralized platform?
One of the biggest problems I see with decentralized platforms is humanity itself. Then again, one of the things I'm always worried about when I see decentralized platforms, especially this one right here, is like this is going to be adopted by some sketchy, non-scrupulous, just some bad people. I could see this going in a very, very bad way. But decentralized anything, it only works if it's wicked transparent. The end user can't know that it's centralized, decentralized, made of moon. They don't need to know that. It's all just got to work TM in the background, because when presented with choice, you look at humanity. If humanity, we don't admit it to ourselves, but we crave curation or just a single point of failure. We want the one thing we can change and to blame or to move away from.
Yeah.
Exactly. Correctamundo. And you look at things like Mastodon. Great technology, but it doesn't have, okay, can I go to just this one place, do this thing, and then everyone's there? It's like, well, no, you got to do this and this and this, which ultimately is great. Spoiled for choice is a real thing. And ease of use takes all. If this can be transparent, if this can be easy to use, technology is sound. I understand it. I get it. It could work. But right now, got to wait and see. Jill, what do you think?
Yeah. This is it's another web torrent client, really. So and very Mastodon like. Yeah, I don't really see it taking off either. So Mastodon is awesome, and it has its core group of users, but it's only grown to a certain point, and I just I don't know.
And that's probably exactly what will happen with this, because let's face it, all that overlong bit of speculation that I did earlier, will only ever be a thing, assuming this gets any sort of traction, which it probably won't because Mastodon didn't.
Yeah.
Okay, I think it's a perfect time for car analogy because Linux is under your hood, yo. Well, it was. It's kind of not. When you think automotive Linux, you tend to go Linux. I thought that was QNX. A lot of people think. This is on ZDNet. I just love throwing in ZDNet articles because look at it. It's causing all the video inputs to go haywire. The web page jerks around. It's a horrible product, but they do talk about Canonical, the product VP, then Canonical product VP, now works for a Google Cloud Product Manager, kind of lays down to ZDNet just how Linux is making inroads into it. And it turns out Tesla's, of all things, used to run Ubuntu, and I thought it was kind of fun to see that Tesla's like, yeah, we're gonna do our own thing now. We're gonna have enough of this.
Well, that seems to be the way that most big companies go. You remember, us being Linux Gamecast.
Nope.
We have, it's not this show, but we have a lot of gaming spiels, and well, you saw that Valve, when they first decided to bring SteamOS to life and make something out of it, it's going to be based on Ubuntu. And then Canonical started to brag about it and started to make some questionable decisions, and Valve went, you know what, it's going to be based on Debian. How's that?
Yeah.
So we're seeing some of that here too. It's people moving into the automotive grade Linux as a more
AGL, man,
white brand.
AGL is a good thing, though. I mean, it's people coming together. They've what is it? Unified Code Base UCB is at 4.0 currently, and I think it's good. But I don't know if Linux is anywhere near ready. They did mention that Tesla finally upgraded from 2.2 kernel to 2.4.
They're running 2.4 now.
Science. And the article does point out that several years back, it was like 7 years, Microsoft, of all people, did a automotive initiative with whatever I think it was like internally called "We Can't Believe We Tricked Manufacturers into Running Windows on our automotive."
It was
Ford.
It was Ford, yeah.
Yeah, Ford gobbled that up, played with it for a hot second, and said, "Oh man, somebody's getting fired." So that was the thing.
I remember seeing the Windows when I still used Windows. Whenever I ran a Java update, I would see in the installers like, "Oh, Java runs in your car." Nowadays, that thought just fills me with dread, and knowing that most of it is actually going into Linux. Good. It's good.
Yes. Hey, at least we don't have to worry about Microsoft's blue screen of death in our, mission critical driving a car.
We just got to worry about the complete lack of security built into most of these modules and their ability to communicate with each other, and also having Wi-Fi and 4G connectivity that allows anyone to lock down your system. That's what we need to worry about. But on our new segment, I like to call Microsoft Loves Linux. Microsoft Windows 10 gains Linux WSL console copy and paste functionality. As a Windows 10 Insider build 17643 rolls off your tongue, you can copy and paste text from and to Linux WSL into consoles, to which I retorted just manic cackling laughter followed by more manic cackling laughter than maybe a seriously, this wasn't a thing. Wow. More and more, I genuinely find myself seeing, now it's good that innovation's coming along. I mean, any Linux inroads into Windows and vice versa, maybe a little less on the vice versa part, is a good thing. But when I see things like this, I genuinely go, how was that not built in from Genesis? I mean, this is Apple. Yeah. This is Apple iPhone 1 level, no copy paste, man.
I know.
It's, at this point, my experience with the Windows subsystem for Linux is very limited. I have a Windows 10 VM that I use every now and then. At work, we're mostly still stuck on Windows 7. So, yeah, very limited experience. But how was this not a thing?
One can just imagine though, somebody stuck at work and the first like, you don't understand, man. This has been godsend to actually have this. As opposed, they're stuck on Windows, and they're very, very happy right now. And we're glad you're very, very happy right now, because I can put myself in that spot and going, why is this not a thing? This is finally a thing. I mean, it's done, and it's done logically. Control-Shift-V. Control-Shift-V, which, most terminals, virtual terminals, that's what you're using. Also, Control-Shift-T for new tabs. Tab terminals make the world better. They help the world, rockin' world go round, man. It's not the other thing. It's tab terminals. I'm telling you right now. Microsoft Azure. I don't know. It's too much Microsoft. I'm poisoned a little bit, Jill. Tell me about it.
Okay, well, this is Microsoft trying to get into the Internet of Things space. And yes, they've been trying to do this for a while. And they first did it with Windows 10 IoT Core for the Raspberry Pi, but that didn't lead to much adoption, as we know. And at many of the conventions I've been going to recently, including Scale and the OSS Summit, Microsoft employees have been doing a lot of talks about installing and using Azure on the Raspberry Pi and other embedded devices for various projects. And this is kind of Microsoft trying to stay viable in the Internet of Things space and continue to use their name recognition. And it's to me another example that Linux has won the war. And Microsoft is scrambling to do whatever it takes to stay relevant in this space and unleash the penguins. Microsoft can't penetrate or change the GNU because it is protected.
Well, Microsoft
and I've stated that before. But
contributed gigs of code. No one's going to say, you have to stick up for Microsoft.
Yeah.
Microsoft is changing as a company, and I'll bring this up every single week, is they're getting out of the operating system business. They realize it's going away. Cloud computing, it's going to be a thing. It's going to be mobile. You can carry it around. The idea of a desktop computer, those days are numbered. I mean, I know three of us would sit here and go, Venn, what are you talking about? Crazy talk. But it's reality. Most people's personal computers, they carry it around with them every single day. Yeah. Believe it or not, even Microsoft gets this. That's how far down the track this thing is going. And they're just opening up, man. They want you to use Microsoft something with Azure or anything of the likes. Now, Windows embedded, we're not going to be seeing that, Jill. I don't think so.
No, no. It's all going to be Linux now. their own versions of Linux and the Azure Sphere OS. They had Debian based.
You mentioned the Microsoft name recognition. When it comes to Microsoft name recognition on ARM-based devices and Internet of Things and embedded devices, the only thing that comes into my head is Windows RT and how that failed miserably.
Well, you got Windows RT.
Yes, on ARM. So true.
Sit back. If you want to have sympathy for somebody, especially with, hey, Microsoft is like, we need Linux to use Linux as a tool to sell what? Services, support. They understand that if you want to have sympathy for somebody, imagine being one of the Microsoft sales weasels, salespeople that have spent the last 10 years, the last decade, telling your big clients, Fortune 500 plus companies, Linux is the devil, Bobby Boucher, and it will eat your face. Now you got to walk into that same company, to those same people going, Linux is the best thing on the world. We're using Linux as a critical part.
Yes.
So
exactly.
Yeah. That doesn't sound fun at all.
Yeah, the days of Ballmer are long gone.
No, not really. I think there's still a solid 30% chance of random Ballmer-like behavior from Microsoft, which is unfortunate. But one thing that is not unfortunate, it's quite fortunate, is the beautiful people who make this show possible. That's loud, live, commercial-free. That's what you bring in, and we are online 4 days a week, bringing you a lot of madness. Pedro does his show on Tuesday. Jordan does one on Thursday. I do the FUBAR every Friday, and that's made possible by you. If you want to kick us a few quid, shekels, maybe 4 quarters a week, that'd be great. You can get your name in lights at the end of the show. It's terrifying. We got Amazon affiliate links. We even have a Libra Pay. I threw up there after like 6 months of having the account, and I finally remembered. Amazon affiliate links, Newegg, Humble, everyone shopping through those affiliate links. That's awesome. That is adding up. Magic Internet money. Make it rain. We can convert that to new stuff, new gear, new games. And that's pretty much it. But we do need to think. Lovely, lovely people. We are just shy because you're looking at a Patreon goal right here. That's Jill. Jill don't come cheap, man. I was like, hey, Jill, what about 225? And Jill's like, get out of my house. And it was like, okay, what about 250? And it's like, all right, that worked out. We're at 249 right now. If you've been thinking about,
it's right there.
Hang on. Oh no, we've done it. We've summoned the shilling penguin who's not lined up correctly.
Yay!
Making it rain all up there. But thank you so much for doing this. We have fun doing this, and we do our big show Saturday. It kind of got the party started, and we want to continue bringing you our special brand of nonsense. But we do want to thank Massivoni, who increased their pledge to 250. So there, if you don't know about it, we totally hide from you the rest of the week. We're all hanging out in Discord, and this is kind of like our little club. But you're more than welcome to join. He did hit the Death Note level, which gives him access to the show notes, and you can kind of bend our ear during the week and suggest new things like that. And we do want to thank Arthurian, because I got this thing. This thing showed up in the mail.
Yay!
You're like, wait a minute, Venn, you're full of lies. You've had a mic arm. Yeah, but this mic arm does this.
That's awesome.
It stays level, yes.
It leans out and in, which is...
Oh, right.
Yeah, I just like, hey, Jordan, we were talking in the pre-super shows, and that's another thing you get. I'm trying to show good, is access to our production meeting every week. It was like 60 extra hours of content you've never heard. I showed Jordan, and I was like, hey, Jordan, check this out. All I did was this. And he's like, ooh, because it's not that fixed point. But Arthurian wrote us a little thing that comes with things off of our Amazon wish. So, and he says, enjoy your new mic arm. Now with the 90% less squeak. Damn it, you cheaped out, Arthurian. I wanted the one with 100%. Let the train wreck continue. Thank you so much.
Yay, Arthur.
And he caused you physical pain, didn't he?
Oh.
Yeah, and Arthur, and thank you for bruising Venn's butt. Sorry. I'm just kidding.
You know, I've spent the last 3 days trying to get past the trauma. You guys are just bringing it back up. Man. I mean, pretty miserable. It's pretty dark. That's evil, man. Yeah, Arthur was able to reach out and assault me from Croatia, I believe. I opened the box.
It's
okay. I'll tell the story.
Great.
Pedro will tell the story. Never mind. Go ahead.
No, it's great. You're able to cause Venn physical pain. It's just amazing.
I just opened the box, man, and I took out the arm, and I was down here and all the things and the stuff, and I was like, hey, man, where'd the big heavy weight that when you drill the hole in the desk, you drop it in, and it goes, clunk, boom. It's like, ow. It wasn't painful. It wasn't. I mean, it stung. I was like, ooh, all right. Picked it up, went about. Didn't limp, anything like that. Got in the shower the next morning. The entire top of my foot's like blue.
Aww.
And so I had to go YouTube the Smurf song so I could go la 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 and all that business. Hey man, let's have a slice of pie. Get out of here. Coming up first this week, this is where we talk about basically anything that's tiny and electrified. No, not hamsters. Google introduces a Raspberry Pi and a DIY smart speaker kit. This update kit's rolling out to Target, Jill. Target.
Oh, to me, that was the big story. The real story here is that Raspberry Pi is coming to Target. Yay! It's just so awesome that it has penetrated the mainstream at that level. It's just very, very, very exciting. But this is a really neat kit. So you can make a smart speaker or smart camera for the Google Cloud Internet of Things. And that's pretty awesome.
I'm digging this. This is kind of a la the Nintendo cardboard thing for the Switch, but for smart people. Because you can end up with an actual useful device when you get done with this and possibly learn something. And it's probably cheaper than just the genuine block of cardboard Nintendo has tricked people into buying.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mind you, I respect that because it's evil. So this, Hey, man, I don't know. This is going to replace like Heathkits. I mean, stuff like this.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Exactly.
we've actually talked about the smart speakers and Google's efforts to make smart speakers really easy if you're trying to build your own and you don't want to buy the Google, whatever it's called, Home Assistant, whatever. You can basically make your own. And if you don't want to use Google's system, well, it's a Raspberry Pi. You can run anything you want on it. And that's great. That's actually really awesome to see.
It's great. And, you know, Chip's got it points out. It's like, yeah, once you start, it's getting that spark. And if it's at something that you dig and you want to do something, then you come up with your own idea of a project. You can go down these massive rabbit holes and learn all this extra stuff that you come out the end with a deeper knowledge. And I think that's great. And I think it is very important. Stuff like this is going to be on the shelves at a Target.
Yes.
Because then it's in the realm of, oh, little Billy likes tearing apart whatever. Maybe I'll buy him one of these and check that out.
Yeah.
Or Susie or whatever. I mean, nobody jump on me with like whatever. You know, kids are
Little
kids.
Billy is the proxy for kids.
Your filthy
Kids who are
stink
into-
larva. That's
Yes.
that's the thing,
If
man.
this was Saturday night, I'd call them something else, but it's not, so yeah.
Hey, man. Too easy. You know what? I was building Raspberry Pi projects before they were a segment on a show, Pedro.
So let's say you would like to have your own open source, completely open source photographic camera that does, you know, pictures, and it does the Polaroid thing
Hang on,
where it prints out
I
the
just got to
picture.
tap in for a minute. The photographic camera as opposed to what? What would you
A
call
video camera. Also, can you bring down the volume on the video a bit? That's just messing with my brain a little bit.
Make it louder?
so-
Okay, I got it.
No.
Oh.
But yeah.
200% incoming.
So this insane person who you see their hands on the video right there decided it was a good idea to have a thermal printer built into a Polaroid case with a Raspberry Pi as its brains and the Raspberry Pi camera as, you know, the actual camera that takes the pictures. And
I'm
he
going to
got
say
the-
allegedly because at no point have I seen this thing actually print. It looks like he printed something and shoved it in it.
yeah.
Is it actually working here?
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah.
there it goes. All right.
There we go. And it actually works. And when you look at it, if you go through the whole article and you look at the pictures, you can see, oh, it's just a regular Polaroid camera that he starts to take apart. He starts to pull things out. He actually goes in and cuts off a chip, like the entire segment around a specific chip on the original Polaroid PCB, and wires that into the Raspberry Pi Zero. And then, and this is the big kicker, because here at Linux Weekly Wednesdays we have the TSA acceptance factor scale, and this one passes with like hipster colors. It's, oh, you have a Polaroid camera. Okay, all right. Because that's what it looks like. It's perfect.
I'll tell you, see, this is, you might throw an asterisk at the end of this, because this is a stealth TSA 10 plus. Because if a TSA agent sees somebody with a Polaroid camera in 2018, they know that person's already an insufferable expletive delete.
Which is why they don't want to deal with them.
Don't want to deal with
yeah,
them. Just
go
like,
ahead.
Just let this person through.
Go.
I do not want to. I do not want to hear what level vegan they are, nor about their CrossFit. So just.
It's genius. It's really, really genius. And he did have one issue, which was the RS-32 COM port for, you know, plugging other stuff in. He had to make it stick out the top where the flash would be. But he managed to make it go down far enough that he could keep the flap to keep it covered. Nailed it.
Indeed. Hey, we're about to bounce out of here, but I'm sure we got something wrong. Maybe we got something right. Maybe you have some questions for us. That would be strange. You can do that. Just head over to linuxgamecast.com. tap on that contact button. This is the best way to do it, people. I will say this ad nauseum because we all get the emails. We're able to share them around, and it just works like that. Prove you smarter than bot. Pedro likes to say that. Pretty simple CAPTCHA. I have faith that you can do it. You can leave us a YouTube comment. Not 100% guaranteed on that. If you want, it's like, hey, I'm going to write something and I want a response. If you're a patron, you can do that. Reply me in Discord or just post it right there on Patreon. We'll get back to you. Split lickety, as the kids say. I don't know. Maybe that was backwards. Coming up first, what do we have?
We have Mukrim, and he's asking about speed. Can you guys ask why the NVIDIA, I'm guessing he meant answer, why the NVIDIA PPA is so slow? Is it hosted on a budget DSL? By the way, the latest beta drivers fixed my blink blink. Keep on keeping on. I like that. I like keep on keeping on. Yeah.
Hail Santa.
Yeah. So why is the NVIDIA graphics drivers PPA so slow? Ubuntu is in charge of it. That's Ubuntu developer canonical people. That, yeah.
It is slow.
Yeah.
Like, pain. Okay. I don't have the fastest connection. However, I have a connection capable of hitting 800 plus megabits. So, I expect things to download reasonably fast. You know, not this PPA. I can wipe out an entire system update by the time, because what is it, Pedro? About 72 megabytes for a driver plus the NVIDIA settings, maybe a libvulcan. So we're doing
the driver itself is like 60, and the other 15-ish are just all the bits that attach to the driver. Right.
And I know when when you hit that NVIDIA, because it's like boom, boop, boop, boop.
Yeah, no, it's great. My internet speed is nowhere near as fast as Ven's, but it's like, yeah, I could usually get 4.5 megs of download per second, actual megabytes per second. And the moment I hit the graphics drivers PPA, it's like 80 kilobytes per second. Kilobytes per second. Come on, man.
It is genuinely over a minute, because I know I can go make a cup of arch tea when I have I'm not kidding. It works in my head. It's like, oh man, you got time to go like make a drink if you're doing a graphics update. Maybe they want to fix that. I'm glad it fixed some blinking issues. They're still there. The Chrome issue is still there. That's been sent upstream to Chrome. They're like, oh, this is a problem, which I'm sure, and probably rightfully so, Google's going to be like, that's not our problem.
Over here, they finally released the 39048 drivers for 1604. It's in the PPA now. I haven't installed them yet. That's what I'm going to be doing after the show. I didn't want to, test fate by installing that today.
What Pedro's trying to say is he's on 1604 LTS and will probably not be on 2 shows.
I hope it won't be that bad.
1 show minimum. There's a reason. Trust me, I got a lot of flack. Like, I can't believe you're running 1710 Venn. Like, dude, I'm just trying to shorten the nightmare that is going to be, because I went from LTS to LTS last time. That wasn't fun.
That's my excuse to move to Solus.
Okay. And just as long as the check clears, right?
There was no check, unfortunately.
Mr. Good Cat writes in, screams in our face. He's like, yo, man, please tell me there's a simple to understand firewall program for Penguin-powered operating systems. Google has let me down, and IP tables is not designed for humans. You know what? I'll give you a 50-50 on that last one. Not in total agreement. I have my solution. You two go. And
well, my solution is, yes, if you're just using IP tables from the command line, it's going to take some learning of the syntax, but there is a teeny tiny GUI that Fedora includes by default whenever you just do the default install, firewall D. Just use firewall D.
Firewall D, does this require installing Fedora?
No.
Okay.
You can install it on whichever distro you're running. Fedora is one of the distros that includes it by default, which is kind of how I learned about it because I used Fedora for a while. And yeah, Firewall D, it's still a bit not user-friendly, but everything is very well sorted, and you pick like a specific area of the network you want to set each and every single port forwarding to and everything else. So it's well organized. It's still hard, but it's well organized.
Jill?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've only used IP tables. Mostly, but several years ago I used to use Wi-Fi Radar, which had a utility for firewall in it that was GUI, and it was really simple to use. And I haven't played around with the newest version, but it is still being actively updated.
My turn?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay. This is coming from me. This is like, I think it was Atomic was asking, he's like, how do I CPU throttle under BSD with an Intel processor? It was like, take off the heatsink. I'm in the business of getting us done, man. All right. I'm results oriented. So my solution for a GUI under Linux, did he say GUI?
He didn't say GUI, he's just saying a firewall that's not IP tables.
Okay. I'll give you one that almost will certainly have a reasonably decent GUI. It's called Router, Brad.
DDWRT or OpenWRT.
Right. If you want to standardize on user interfaces, just get one that supports DDWRT or OpenWRT, Tomato, if that's still around. Seriously, get a router. You can get a router that can route, bro, sys, whatever. That will support DDWRT for like 50 wet stink, 30 if you are shopping around. And yeah, there's really not an excuse not to have one. Plus, you want. Then I'm not saying don't mess around with IP tables. If you want to get fancy, if you want to learn about networking, play around with IP tables. If you want to sleep at night, trust me, the NSA, all the alphabet agencies, they can get in anyway. Just give that one up. Just get a router, set it, forget it, have fun with it, because no one really cares what you're up to. So, everything I said is probably not right. Looking forward to the email next week. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that's going to do it for this show. I've been Vince Stone. That's been Pedro Montes. That's been one Jill Bryant. And we'll be back next week for some of this crazy train of happiness and fun. And I'm just killing time till I can find that credits button. Boom, there it is.
There it is.
Yay.
There it is.
All of our beautiful party patrons, starting with our executive producers, getting listed against their will. I'm like, haha, we're going to plug you anyway. I want to thank everyone for that. Good show, tight show. Oh, anybody want to guess how long it was? Who wants to guess how long it was?
An
I'm
hour?
going to say 53:48.
Bzz. Bzz.
No.
Nope.
49:50.
49:50. Oh, look at this optimist.
Yeah, no, that's gonna get a little teeny tiny, a little bit low.
Listen, I'm just throwing this in. 1 hour, 4 minutes. Bye-bye.
Oh, we went over an hour.
Oh my gosh. It's those darn Microsoft stories.
Yeah, the Microsoft stories. Fuchsia, which is Linux, but we gotta talk about it. IP tables, once you learn the syntax, it's, well, I'm sure Venn will attest to this, it's like FFmpeg. It's just faster to do it directly through IP tables.
Yeah.
What?
FFmpeg, once you learn the syntax, it's just faster to do the FFmpeg thing than, using all the fancy GUI stuffs.
Yeah. Well, it depends. Like, if I need to do something, I just need to do it once. Yeah. If we're going to be doing something over and over and over, yeah, it's just going to end up in a little batch file. But there's some things like OBS is great. It's simple enough. It's inoffensive enough to where we use it. And granted, I immediately found ways to make it do things it's not supposed to do. That's what I like getting into.
That's why it crashes a lot.
Yeah. And Truggy, I do use FFmpeg as well as Mencoder. So I like to encode my videos the classic way.
I encode videos. I use Handbrake, man.
Yeah, Handbrake. Yeah. Well, of course, but I still like to do it with FFmpeg too sometimes, just to keep that.
Because you're damn hipster, going. Man. That's all. That's all. Sipping your PBR.
Handbrake is great because if you, let's say, you open the GUI once, you create your own preset. Let's say you're doing the exact same thing over and over, and you want those very same settings, and you don't want to adjust them every single time. You create your own preset. And then you kill the GUI and you run the Handbrake command line with that preset, and we'll just do it. The
Trugs, I can't.
I've written scripts for FFmpeg from years ago that I still use. But yes, Handbrake, like we talked about last week, though, Handbrake. Actually, I've been playing around with it. It has gotten a lot quicker. So the encoding and it's really fast now.
Front-wheel drive Porsches. I'm going to interject. I'm trying to talk to Chatroom and address what they're talking about.
Oh, okay. What are they?
Porsches.
Oh, okay.
Haha. I tricked both of you. I'm talking about cars. Suckers. No, I wanted to ask Trugs I can't tell if that is because I don't see the reflectors on it, which would make it a 924. Or a 944 with body kit. Also, how is it being derusted? Those things are made out of galvanized steel. That was all. You guys back to this FFmpeg thing.
It's okay. I was done. I'm sorry, Ben.
If you take the time to set up Intel QuickSync, which I did when I did the review for the Tuxedo Infinity Book Pro, it was an experience learning how to actually set that up for it to be available system-wide. But if you do that, wow, does it cut down the time on the encodes. It went from like over an hour on an encode to 7 minutes. So, what the hell?
Well, the only problem with that encoder is it is an inferior quality-wise. It's an inferior encoder. It doesn't matter what bit. It's like, but if you just feed it all the bits, it's like it's still an inferior encoder. Period. It doesn't matter how much data you feed it. It still does a worse job.
Yep.
Which is, I mean, I want to try the the newer ones in the 10X series, because the 980, even though it will do lossless encoding, and it looks good if you feed it enough data bits, but we can't stream with that. Even with 20 megabits up, it does not look good.
Nope.
Yeah.
That's feeding it straight up, just to, in that, I have 30 up, and I can feed it 20. I've done tests, just unlisted test. It's like, whoo, that looks worse than like an 8 megabit MPEG 4 stream.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it's, I think between NVEnc and QuickSync, NVEnc is slightly better, but that's also relying on better graphical processing hardware, because let's face it, an NVIDIA GPU runs laps even around the Iris Pro, so yeah.
I was a little disappointed. Farrell's like, yo, well, Vulkan support's not that great on Intel Embedded, but I mean, it should Vulkan a little bit. Tomb Raider coming out tomorrow? No, strictly not supported for Tomb Raider. 100%. Well,
yeah.
Farrell's like, that's not going to work, and we'd recommend you have an Intel processor, to which millions of people went, have you looked at the top selling processor period ever on Amazon for, I don't know, the past half year?
It's like, yeah, those Ryzens are outselling everything. The 1600 is outselling everything. So
listen, we're going to get into this a lot
heck?
deeper on Saturdays, but yeah, it's like, give me the recommended Intel. It's like, oh, that's cute. What about R3? What about R5? What about R7? What about Gen 2 Ryzens that are like available? You just got to get
those
older.
people, those people were actually running the 2200G with a dedicated GPU to the side, because the 2200G is a quad-core 8-thread with a slightly weaker GPU than the 2400G, or is just quad-core 4-thread, something like that. And it kicks ass! It actually kicks ass for the $80 that it costs. It's awesome.
Truggy, you can use an YUV output on that to get full raw.
You can.
Yeah.
Or you could just use the vcodec raw video. Pix format.
Yeah.
420 if you want to go that route. Or let's see. Go ahead, Joel.
Well, the Huff video is YUVs. Yeah.
Massivoni, that is up to your budget. The 2700, it has better IPC, better single-threaded performance. Of course, the multi-thread performance is also going to see a boost.
Massivoni, the answer to what Pedro's about? No. See?
It's solely dependent on your budget. If you don't have the $300 to spend on a new CPU...
I just B-zipped Pedro's response.
No, that's exactly where I was going.
Exactly.
If you have the $300 to spend on a new CPU, go ahead.
Oh,
but you don't need to.
Yeah, definitely.
That's the difference. If you're buying a new one, yes. Upgrade, absolutely not. They're saying at best single core IPC, it's like maybe, if you're being wicked generous, 10%.
Yeah.
It's
mostly around 7 and 5% improvement, but they've gotten to the point where they're catching up to Intel. So you're not going to see a lot of IPC improvements generation to generation, like you don't see with Intel anymore. They have no IPC improvements since Broadwell. It was just, better, the same performance, but at a lower TDP.
Yeah.
And first-gen Ryzens, and these aren't really second-gen Ryzens, these are ticks. They're getting cheap. So, and don't hold out too long, because you get the cheap curve where it goes down, where it goes down, where it goes down, then AMD taps the brakes on the manufacturing process, which they've probably already done. Then the prices start going back up, and they never come back down for like 6 more years before.
Yeah.
Yeah, Arthurian got a 1440 27-inch monitor, I believe it was.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you got an IPS.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have 2 of those, Arthurian, and I love them. Mine are 30-inch, but it's pretty much the same.
Humble brag.
Well, those are I have a 1920 by 1200 older LCD sandwiched between them. So, because I like to run, I like 1920 by 1200 a lot, and I couldn't find matching 1920 by 1200 screens because they don't make them anymore.
Nope.
So.
You will find those resolutions on like 8-inch tablets nowadays, and that's about it.
Oh, Trugs, who's the company, Pedro?
Mushkin.
Dude, you want cheap SSDs? And I know Empty was like, come on, man, you just don't buy the cheapest thing. Dude, things come with a 3-year warranty, and they're $30.
Yeah, it's $39 for the 120 gig version, $60 for the 250, and 90 for the 500 gig, or
$109.99 wet American stinky caches for a 500 gig SATA 3. Vertical TLC, 6 gigabits a second. and read and write, it's over 400. So.
Yep. Yeah, no, at that point, with that much density and vertical NAND, you are saturating the SATA bus. It's like getting a slightly cheaper Samsung 850 EVO, which does the exact same thing. It's like, oh, you're actually using the entire SATA bandwidth right now, so you're going to sit there and look pretty because we're hogging it.
Well, Trugs, I love you, but like the word trust, I never factor in a purchase of an SSD under $100 with trust in it.
Yeah.
You get what you get, man. And SSDs.
Yes.
Here's the way you got to look at it. The way I look at it, I was a way early adopter of SSDs. I had Intel's SSDs that just noped on me hard. But they either work or they don't, as Pedro has found out. It's like, hey, look, it's something. There it goes. Unlike spinning drives, give you a chance. They give you all the chances. The problem is you put it off. Like, oh, that one's starting to go back. How many times have you said that? It's starting
to be a bit loud.
How many times have you? Yeah. You're like, I probably need to like swap that out and get that one backed up and replicate it. And yeah, at $30 for 120 gigs, man, I was like, whatever.
Yeah.
What, do you get a month out of it for it bursts into flames? She's like, yeah, broke even.
It's like, oh, I have this old laptop that's got a SATA connector in it, and it's just sitting around.
Yeah.
$30, flip it for like 60. Done.
960, 500 gig.
NVMe 960. That probably ran you over $200.
Yeah, well, what was it? The Death Stars with the pixie dust technology. Remember that?
Death Stars?
IBM Death Stars. They were called like Death Stars or something like that. And they had some. Now they're helium fueled with the lasers and stuff inside of hard drives.
Yeah,
okay.
That's how they're getting the higher density per platter. It's lasers and helium.
Pay attention to our marketing manager, MT.
Yeah.
Who
That's the one.
Posted the correct link with our affiliate link. Thank you, sir. When I was watching on PC Pro when they were explaining, it's like, oh, this is how we're getting 12 terabytes. It's like, your standard mechanical hard drive is a Rube Goldberg invention, period. It's the only way to describe what it is, that mechanical piece of nope. The fact that it works is a testament to persistence.
And it works not just one level. It's got several different levels of platters with a needle actually carving a hole down. It's like
moving parts, man.
Yeah.
And true, Patrick, travel stars were horrible with the click of death.
The only hard drive I've ever had that just like straight up died was Samsung something.
Oh, okay.
Seagate for me.
Yeah.
It was just the one. It was a 5400 RPM, 250 gigs Seagate drive that came stock for the laptop that I bought. It's the only hard drive I've had up to this point that just noped.
Yeah. Mostly I ran SCSI hard drives in all my systems, but I've actually, most of them are still running, so it's a testament.
That's what I was about to bring up, man. I have two 15K Barracudas that are coming up on their almost 20 years old, because they're only like I think they're 1.9 gigs each formatted. I still have them solely because it's fun to kill the power on that array. It takes them almost 3 minutes to quit spinning down, and it's audible.
Yeah.
It is like, hey, come check this out. It's like, really?
Yes.
You get to that point of like, it's still going.
I still have my Micropolis full height SCSI hard drives that are redundant that still work, and they're from the early 80s. So
yeah.
And again, kids, we're talking about hard drives that cost well over $1,000 a piece new.
Piece. Yeah.
Right.
And these ones were made specially for the aerospace industry, so they weren't even available commercially.
Oh, did they have like little tiny fins on them?
Yeah. Yeah, they have their own internal RAID arrays. That's what I have in my Deck Alpha and a couple of my older Xeons over here. And when you turn the computer on, the computer literally shakes. I mean, like the Deck Alpha is on wheels and it will move because it's like the size of a table. but my other computers that don't have wheels on them, it shakes so hard when they start spinning up. We used to always joke about the sound.
Yeah, Sildat throws. That's what we were talking about is hammer. Yeah. Laser beams in your hard drive because that's okay.
Yeah, they got laser beams and helium is another one they've been experimenting with. They're getting those larger terabyte hard drives with helium.
Because you need more things to go wrong. I mean, that's...
Yeah. You need it to explode on you.
No, you just see, like, you fill up your entire 3.5-inch bay with helium drives and you just watch your desktop PC float.
I don't know.
And Artheron actually was kind enough to remind me, vote.linuxgamecast.com. Because people suggested titles.
Yes. Oh, yeah, we didn't even look at those.
Let's take a look. If you want to get that business in, vote.linuxgamecast.com. This is, what do we have? Little Susie? Gotta be things that were said during the show. Maybe we said that? They gentrified
Oh, actually, there's actually one I said.
I respect that because this is just life fact with me, man. I know I shouldn't like it, I shouldn't agree with it, but it's like, you know what? On a level, I can respect that because it's like, oh, that is the most evil thing I've seen.
They gentrified my Aldi. That's such a good one.
Looks like we have a three-way tie right now. With Little Susie, I respect that because it's evil, and they gentrified my Aldis.
Alright. I need to get a refill. We'll hang out for about another 5-6 minutes, and we're gonna bones out of here.
Okay.
Yeah, right now, in this case, it has one 2.5-inch bay and... what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4 3.5-inch. So the 1 2.5-inch as the boot drive, which is... I know it's going to be the first thing to go. It's my OCZ Vertex 3, 128 gig SSD, which has been kicking since, I don't know, 2011, 2012, whenever they came out. So that's going to die. I've come to terms with that. Then below that, there's the Western Digital Black, 1 terabyte, which is warm storage. And then below that, there's my YOLO RAID of Samsung SSDs, two 250 gig 850 EVOs. Then the other two below that are the two Western Digital Blues, also in YOLO RAID, which is where the Steam games live now. It's like, getting about 400 megabytes per second sequential writes. Admittedly, the random reads and writes are still very slow on accounts of hard drives, but it helps to have them in YOLO RAID.
Yes. I'm sorry, pizza dude.
Don't apologize to pizza dude.
He's just playing with me. I love pizza dude. Artheron. Linux Weekly Giggly Wednesday. I love that. Pedro.
That's double the giggles on all the things.
Yay, Matthew! I'm so happy you were able to join us today. So exciting.
Very good point there, Sildat. Higher capacity lithium ions helium in lasers and hard drives. Japanese capacitors getting a bit faulty.
Oh.
Yeah. It's like, oh, you can't take your laptop on a plane anymore. But it's my laptop. What the hell, man?
Aww. Aw. Thank you, Narlin. You're awesome.
Yeah. I've had the Western Digital Blue that I already had was the home partition for the Steam box when I was still in Portugal. And now I just paired it with the second one, 7200 RPM. It's feasible, and they're cheap. That's kind of the point. And just all the games live there now.
Yeah, I use Blues a lot for my games.
Yeah. It's like the consumer grade of the Western Digital line. They're like the consumer variants. It's the Western Digital Blues. If you want to be power savvy, you get the greens because they only use like 2 watts or something like that. And if you
I was
want
talking
the speed, you get the blacks.
I was talking to someone who works at Western Digital. They have a plant here, and it's all the same hard drive. It's just a different microcontroller. Yeah. It's just a and you can it's tweak it.
Okay, these platters bend really well. Okay, let's put the black micro controller on them, and it's a Western Digital black. There you go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you can hack them, but I've no.
It's Western Digital. They're ubiquitous when it comes to hard drives. So there's plenty of hacking tools. And there's also one thing that I learned because someone had an external 3 terabyte Western Digital passport or something that the external enclosures that they sell, and it had a green in there. And the owner dropped it, and it didn't work anymore. So it's like, okay. Give me here. Opened it up, took out the hard drive, powered it up. It's like, that's a distinctive sound. Let's Google for that. Oh, filling hard drive sounds. Okay. Oh, okay. The spindle is broken. The needle is stuck, and it can actually move to the platters. Okay, so basically, either you pay a lot of money for someone to replace everything, actually seal that in a vacuum chamber, and replace everything, all the mechanical parts, and try to save the platters, or you just buy a new one.
Yeah.
Do you remember the Gen 1 iPods, the one with the spinny drives in them?
Oh, yeah. I have one of those.
Oh, yeah. The really chunky ones. Yeah.
Yeah, man. One of the fixes for those. Like, legitimately, if it's sad macked on you, drop it.
Yeah.
The ribbon cable came undone. That was a very common failure point. I mean, you didn't necessarily have to drop it, but it made for better effect when you dropped it. It came back on. Because it would reseat it, or you could just take it apart. But again, not as fun.
And Truggy,
IDE drives and an iPod.
Yeah. Truggy, I love the Western Digital Corvair drives. Those are awesome. I have them on a lot of my older machines, my early Pentiums and whatnot. Have those drives. They're workhorses.
I have a 0 spinny drive policy in this render box.
Yes.
It's all solid state. And they're not
we
held in with duct tape.
Prices down. Yeah.
Which for me is a new thing.
It's a new thing. You don't mount them. Oh, I need to show Ben how to mount SSDs.
No, these are mounted with
I'm teasing you.
5 1/4 adapted sleds. I mean, everything's in this has been done. If this was my personal box, it would be mounted with duct tape because you're wasting time and money if you don't mount it with duct tape. You mount it right against you do it against the case because the side of the case acts as a heatsink. Way better heatsink than anything you're going to buy to mount them in. And they're SSDs, they're solid state, they're not going anywhere. You don't have to worry about dust getting in them.
Very true.
It's like, surface contact, it's actually flat against the side. The chances are metal side of the case. Yeah. It's probably going to be a bit of a warm spot in the outside of your case, but it's good. It means it's working.
It works.
And yeah, trug zip ties, bag ties if you want to get fancy with your mounting solution.
Yeah.
If you're trying to make it look pretty, okay, you use bag ties. But
ratchet straps. Just get a couple of ratchet straps. Get those SSDs.
Zip ties. Everything dies, Strider. If typo negative has taught you anything, it should be that everything dies.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I want to get a nice, doesn't have to be too big because it's just going to be a boot drive, but I want a nice NVMe for this box. So,
definitely.
Boot drive, get rid of the Vertex 3 because that's gonna die. And yeah, just NVMe all the things.
Yeah.
I've got an NVMe boot drive. It's 250 gigs on this box. And that's really all. Everything else is just standard SSDs.
Yeah.
It works. They get used. That's what they were built for. It's not a fun, happy time box. It's a get the business done box. Screw. Oh no. This is a case made genuinely before some of you were born.
Yes.
It is made out of steel. There's no aluminium on this. The outside, the case walls, all steel. Really good at keeping cool, but the heat, steel doesn't do a good job at dissipating. So the top of the full tower, hot. It just
that's how you keep your tea warm.
Probably. I mean, if you had like something that was thermally insulated, you could leave it on there all day and it would maintain temp, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, both Venn and I have our old sun boxes that we've modified.
You know you're rocking it when it's got a full-size LTP port.
Yeah.
This one's got a gnarled up one because this is one of the cases I used years ago for water cooling, so I like LTP port was an easy way in, so I just took pliers and bent it down to get the tubes in and out. Put the radiator in. Hey man, it worked.
Yeah.
People spend too much time focusing on pretty. Pretty doesn't factor into a lot of things. I don't think a requirement for desktop should ever have the word pretty in it.
It's a desktop. You're buying it because practical and cheap.
Oh, I have to have everything pretty inside and out.
Practical and cheap, just like me. Keep your Coke warm. I don't know. I'm drinking hot tea and it is 24 degrees outside, so.
Yeah, no, it hit 25 today and it's going to be even warmer tomorrow. Good times.
Day before yesterday, it got up to 6. Even though the day before that was 29.
Yeah, no, next week the temperatures are going to come down to like 12. So, yeah.
I agree, Strider. I agree, Matthew.
This this case right here, I think it holds a total of 32 drives. So, plenty of room. Plenty of ports and room on the back. It's got like 4 removable 5 1/4 cages in it.
That's when you need that PCI to set a expansion card. It's like, yeah, I need more SATA ports now. Thank you.
Well, I mean, it's an old school server case. They're like, oh man, those 80 millimeter fans look little in there. It's like 80 millimeter fans. Okay. Desktop. Yes, you do. Mr. Red. And some people like Strider spend extra time. Pedro's just as guilty too. He has no room to talk.
Oh yeah. No, I intend to get all the pictures as I start hacking away at the Xbox 360 case. And if I manage to get it looking real good, I'm going to take even more pictures.
Nice.
Yeah.
I want to see that.
I'm going to, hopefully next month, I'll at least have the motherboard to get like the final positioning of where the CPU cooler is going to be and where exactly I will need to chop off the back of the Xbox 360 to put the I/O shield. So that's the plan anyway.
Grow some herbs. I don't know. I didn't plant my peppers this year, which is interesting. Apparently my mother did not do a garden. What? No, she said she did like a little tiny ass garden. Talking about that. What is this? Kind of like that, but less fugly.
Matthew,
Yeah,
some of his
my case has the wind tunnel going through it.
Well, that was another decision to build it in this old case because there's so much room. Is I don't have to have jet fans going through it to keep it cool. You know, right now, running with everything, 56 degrees is virtually silent.
Yeah.
Everything, you know, it's throttled fans and they're all just like... They're technically...
Yeah, this case, the reason I bought it's like, oh, it comes with 4 120mm silent fans. The max that they spin up to is like 1200 RPM. For under 50 euros, it's like, oh, okay, we're just going to buy that and not have to worry about putting in any more fans because that works.
Did you see that case on PC Pro a couple of weeks back that was like all weird and built like around? Oh, you see, I'm susceptible to that, ladies and gentlemen. I was like, I'd never buy anything with that much YOLO swag on it. I was like, yeah, absolutely. I would own one of those right up to the point where they get to the $800 price point. It's like, I'm good.
Yes.
I'm good. You know what?
It's the X form factor, and each of the, like, the legs of the X is its own bay, and you have one for the GPU, or GPUs.
Yeah.
You have one for the motherboard and the processor and the RAM and everything else. You have another one with just the hard drives and the SSDs, and the other one for the power supply. And it takes up one of those stupidly big, like 2,000 watt power supplies, if you're so inclined. But it'll fit in there.
To run your mini ITX board.
They had that one at CES. They were showing it off.
Yeah.
I'm all for it, man.
My Sun station, I have soundproofing in it, and it's so quiet. I love that beast.
Yeah, most of my Saber Sun series Ultra 10s, I mean, they're fanless.
Yeah, they all have They
just got a big honking heatsink on the CPU module, compute unit, whatever you want to call it, the thing with the 2 lines.
Yeah.
That holds the CPU that you put on there. Pro tip, flathead screwdriver. That's how those come out. You're going to wince when you pop it for the first time.
Yes.
I've had people in data centers just like look at me in abject horror as I shoved a flathead. I mean, I tape the end, just jerk it one good time and it pops loose, because most of those things haven't been popped open in 15, 16 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nah, so I got to stick
Well,
together.
I think my Sun case, I'm going to upgrade to a new Ryzen rig.
That'd be good.
Like we talked about last week. That'll be really nice. Now next to it, I have my Oh, go ahead, Pedro.
All right, I was just gonna say the loudest thing I have in my case right now, still the 1080. Damn those fans.
Yes. Yeah, damn those fans. Yeah, I put the in my Sun case, I put the compact 1060 EVGA in it because it is so quiet, and it is a really nice. I have a 1050 dual fan GPU, and it's a lot louder, so I'm happy I didn't put that in this case. But
before we started doing anything with audio, I gave exactly -3 fucks about quiet PCs. I bought a Tornado fan years ago too. Go look up what a Tornado fan is.
Oh yeah, I have one of those. Yeah.
Yeah, you plug that in, and if it's not bolted down, it will jump out of your hand and kill things.
Yeah. Yes.
Probably, maybe not even lying, almost 100 decibels.
Yeah.
It
No,
is
I believe it.
painful to listen to. And I had one of those. I loved it. It was like, my motoring vehicles to make rackets and stuff like that. I was like, why shouldn't the PC's powerful? It should make all the rackets.
Oh, I have lots of loud computers in here. I have a couple Blade servers with all those, they have like 20 little tiny baby fans in it, and they.
Oh yeah.
My Dell IntelliStation T90, it has 4 Xeon processors in it. So when I turn that thing on, it literally hurts. So when I do renders on it, I try and do it when I'm not home, because you hear it around the whole house. And all the
HP,
fans, and then it's got the
HP
big,
laptops, HP desktops.
Loud. Oh yeah, they're loud too. But this one, it's got 256 gigs of RAM on riser cards, and those all have fans in them as well as each processor, of course, having a huge heat sink and fan, and the GPU and everything. So it's just, it is literally so loud it hurts your ears.
A bunch of little 60 millimeter loud, bitchy little. Yeah, those fans. I hate those fans. I have nightmares about those fans.
I'm eventually going to go in and change them all because it just drives me up the wall.
That's why when I bought these, I made sure that the dB rating was like, it will go up at full speed, which is like 2600 RPM or something like that. 28 dBs. Oh yeah, that's pretty good. I can live with that. That's fine.
Yeah, no, that's good. That was one of the reasons why my son's station, I keep it quiet, because I want at least one computer that's quiet for playing games.
It's good another way. I mean, it's just about volume. I'm talking about volume and just how much air you can push through 120 millimeter fans. You might remember in the old days, I definitely had a box that would run too hot, so I had to take the side panel off and put a box fan next to it to do a kernel compile.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Because it was second fault in kernel compiles.
Yeah.
I'm just like an AMD K6 something 2400.
Oh, God. Yeah, those ran hot, too. So I have a couple of those.
Loud fans. All right. Okay, beautiful people. It is after 5, 6, 7, 8, 5s. 10 p.m. or 2 p.m.
I need dinner.
So, you're hungry?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, man, I got another 30 minutes in me. Come on, I gotta make some time.
Okay, then you did 30 minutes. I'm out.
I had such a big breakfast that I'm not hungry.
So, life hack: learn to eat once a day. It's horrible for your metabolism, but you get to skip all the oh no, I need to eat. It's like, have fun with that. Thursday, Jordan's going to be playing stuff. Come check it out on the schedule. That's his day to stream. Friday, I'll be back. We're going to be doing a speed theme. I name my shows. Pedro and Jordan don't name their shows. They're just like, I'm playing a game. Friday night Fubar is going to be a speed theme. Probably going to do some distance. Probably going to do some speed runners. It's going to be a thing. And it's going to be an hour of madness. Or however much time I can squeeze out. Usually an hour. It works out like that.
Yeah.
So that's the whole thing. Thanks everyone for supporting this. It's great. You know we love you. And Saturday, big show. We're going to be talking about a lot of stuff that rhymes with Tomb Raider and Vulcan. And we're going to see how that works out. All right. Time to fight. Bye-bye.
Bye, chat realm.